Welcome to Secure the Bag, Divisional Round Edition. It's your boy A-Dub.
And your boy Strizzy. What's up, SLAC fam?
What's good? We back in the building, and we ready to secure some bags for this weekend. We are down to 8 teams, 4 games this weekend to decide who will go to the conference championships next weekend. And very exciting times. And it's always a cool thing to see, which of these teams is actually going to end up in the Super Bowl. We've had our predictions all year long, but what's going to come to fruition and are there going to be any surprises for sure? So I'm excited for this weekend. But how are you feeling, Strizzy?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. Like I'm excited about today's game. Like my my side piece Ravens. You know what I'm saying? Like they're going against a really good and just fun, entertaining, young and up and coming Texas team, man. And I feel like I don't know. Like I guess the game at night is the right game, but I just feel like this is going to be a much better one. You know what I'm saying? I have a feeling that the Niners are going to take care of business pretty easily, but I feel like this game's going to be a lot better.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. That early game will be the first game when we discuss today, and lots of exciting angles to that game. So we'll get into it in just a minute here, but do want to welcome Onk to the show. Good morning from cold South Texas. Definitely, what I'm saying, hopefully the heater holds up and everything is good with you out there, but we appreciate you joining in. And I'm interested to see your picks as well as we go through here. But let's get it popping. Let's do what we came to do. But before we do, we got to talk about it real quick. Last week was a rough week, but Strizzy still 50-50 for against the spread for last week's 6 matchups. For me, not so much. You know what I'm saying? I had some heartbreak with the Cowboys, but this was even more pathetic, honestly. Only picking up one bag, I'm like, dang. So
it was a surprising week last week, though. I feel like a lot. I mean, Houston came up big. The Bucks came up huge. Packers can't believe it. You know what I'm saying? Like last week was an insane week of football for real.
I know, and I love it because really, like, that's what it's all about. We talk about all the way back to the movie, right? Any Given Sunday. Like, there's a reason why that saying came about for the NFL, and that's what separates the NFL a little bit too. Is like it's so crucial. Every game matters, and it's the only of the major sports that doesn't have a series. Like baseball, basketball, hockey. Like it's best of 5, best of 7. This is like one and done. Like you have to show up that day or
go home. Go home.
Exactly. So I love it. Pop says, good morning, Pop. I appreciate you joining us. Unc says, please don't mention the Cowboys. I have to. You know what I'm saying?
That's the squad.
That's what I'm saying. We it's still lingering. You know what I'm saying? When I'm watching these teams, I'm thinking, why wasn't that us? You know what I'm saying? So I have to. So
man, and I got a question for y'all. We can save that question for Tuesday though, because I'm sure we'll talk about it.
Yeah, or if we have a little bit of time, we can maybe get into that. But yeah, we do have some stuff to talk about there. But let's go ahead and make these picks. Let's break down these games. Of course, we always start off with the caveat. This is not actual betting advice. Asterisks on there, just our opinions. And as you can see from my one bag last week, you might not want to take my advice, but we always normally do the money line. But for now, for playoffs, since there's only so few matchups, we're going to do everything against the spread. So that's picking who will win the game, considering the adjusted score. As you saw, Strizzy kicked ass last week, so he is going to start us off with the first matchup for today's game, and that is the Texans visiting the number 1 seed Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore favored by 9.5.
Yeah, man. So this is going to be a good game, basically, to me, down to the absolute wire. So I am taking the Ravens in the money line and against the spread. I think what's going to happen. I'm saying my football sense is tingling a little bit. I think the game's going to be really close. I think going into the fourth quarter, maybe final drive, Ravens will be up 3 with Texans going down. And unfortunately, Stroud's going to throw a pick 6 to end it for the 10 for spread. So I think Baltimore is going to cover this spread today.
Got you. Yeah, they got the layered prediction in there. I like that. I do think it will be a very close game, but I get you. Like there are some of those outcomes where if you look at the score, it doesn't tell the story of like how close the game was or how like it'll look like people maybe not watching the game might think, oh, Baltimore blew them out, but something might happen late to kind of change that. I feel you on that one. I think for the Texans, they've had a great, exciting year. And, I know I kind of cast them out last week because I felt like Cleveland would do what now Baltimore will do this week, which is kind of set them back a little bit. I think that the Ravens just have the pieces on offense and defense to keep this game. The only thing is, that wild card of CJ, you know what I'm saying, and like maybe just having an outstanding performance.
Yeah.
But we normally don't see it. The youngest starting quarterback to win a playoff game, a rookie, like there's a reason why these things don't happen very often.
Yeah.
I am going to go with the Ravens as well. But I think the best thing that the Texans can hope for is a little bit of rust on the Ravens' part because they have set out the last 2 weeks their starters. And, maybe they can jump out early and try to hold on. But I do think that the Ravens will win this game. I have them on the money line, but I'm sticking with the Texans against the spread. I feel like they're gonna be in that 7-8 range. So, but I love how you mentioned that. I think it is going to be very close along those lines, and a score late could change this spread. But yeah, I'm going Baltimore on the money line and then Houston against the spread. We'll see. We got to have some little variety. You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure. I hope this. Talking about secure the bag, man. I got a couple of different like anytime touchdown lays going out, like a whole bunch of different combinations that I put together. I'm hoping this one's just a firefight. Like I hope it's just a bunch of scoring, kind of back and forth a little bit, and then like I said, it just comes down to like the last drive of the game, man. But I hope this is like the game of the week. This should be a good one.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. I do think it will be. I think low key because there's some good matchups. Everybody wants to see the 49ers too. Everybody wants to see the rematch or the trilogy or the quadrilogy or whatever the Chiefs Buffalo matchup is at this point, because they've had so many matchups. But I do think that this will be the most exciting one. I'm pumped for it.
Yeah.
Let me check the chat real quick before we get it moving. Unc is going with the Texans. Pop says love CJ, but Ravens will win. Excellent analysis, Strizzy.
What's up, Pop?
Mark there. Unc says got it back to Texans. The other Texas team stinks. Pop says we resemble that remark.
Right.
We ain't going
Unc out here hurting feelings today.
Exactly. Like why you got to call out? We ain't going to deny it, but you didn't have to put us on blast. So
hey, we still we still mourning, Unc.
Exactly. Like I was just telling you, it's still lingering. But that's what's up. All right, so locked in on that first game of today. Moving on, we have tonight Green Bay at San Francisco. San Francisco also favored by 9.5 in this matchup.
Yeah, so like I said, I think the first game is a little bit closer. And I think, like you said, the box score doesn't always tell the whole story, but I think they get it. This one, I think it does. I think San Francisco comes out to play kind of firing. I think the defense shows up too. They're healthy. Trent Williams is healthy, and I think they beat San Francisco by 14 at least.
By Green Bay.
Yeah. Sorry, I beat Green Bay by at least 14. Yep.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. I am going with San Francisco, and I am going with the spread. I feel like the familiarity with these coaches might keep things close at first.
Yeah.
But I think we also might see some gambles on Green Bay's side. They talked about last week playing with house money. We see how that turned out for them. But now, like we always talk about, when a gambler gets on a roll, sometimes they go too far, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like they might just take some chances early and just try to really take the 49ers off guard, but I think that they'll be ready for it. I think Shanahan knows what to do, and they have just like that steady consistency that like as long as they play their way, very few teams have the talent to beat them. And Green Bay does not have the talent to beat them. So I'm going with the 49ers in this one and against the spread, just like you. I think, hopefully it'll be a cool one. Hopefully Green Bay will show out a little bit, but I just don't see it this time. I feel like they used their magic up.
Last time these teams played in the NFC Championship, Raheem Mostert murdered them. Like he killed Green Bay. Like it wasn't even close. So honestly, I'm expecting a big game again. But now they got Christian McCaffrey out, running the ball. So I'm thinking huge game from McCaffrey today. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I'm saying? So I know I like San Francisco in this one. I think Green Bay had a really, really good season. Love had a really good season, especially how he ended the season. But I think San Francisco all the way.
Yeah, for sure. Checking the chat, both Unc and Pops are on San Francisco as well. So it's a unanimous decision there. And like you said, though, like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like one thing that does separate the good teams from the okay teams or the average teams, especially in the playoffs, is the willingness to just do the same thing over and over until it doesn't work anymore. Exactly. And like we've seen that with certain coaches like Shanahan. We've seen that with in the past with Belichick. It's like if they cannot stop something, they will just do it to death, like, all the way down the field. Exactly. And if that's the way they play and they're deliberate that way, I don't see them at too much risk today. So all right, so we're going San Francisco across the board there. Now moving into Sunday morning, this is like the least exciting matchup. Something to watch. We've got Tampa Bay visiting Detroit. Detroit is favored by 6.
Yeah, this one's a tricky. It's funny. I love the over in this game. You know what I mean? Like for some reason, I feel like this game is going to be over. I am going to take the Buccaneers though at the spread. Okay. But I think everyone's expecting Lions to just blow them out, and honestly, they might. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna go with my gut on this one. So I'm taking Bucs with the spread. But I like the over too.
Got you. Yeah. So, I think this will be a pretty cool game, but I'm actually going with Detroit on the spread. I think it's going to be pretty close, but I see them in that 7 to 10 range.
Yeah.
This one could quite possibly be like how you were talking about with the Ravens game. Like, maybe it is like Detroit kind of scores late to really put them to bed.
For sure.
I think it was a great season though for Mayfield and for the Bucs. A little bit of redemption there, but also like I think that the coach for the Bucs, and now all of a sudden his name is escaping me. He doesn't get enough credit. Bowles, right?
Todd Bowles.
I feel like he does not get enough credit. When Tom Brady came there, obviously Brady took over as the highlight, and the story was, how he got his 7th ring. But really, it's that the story is that franchise was very stable. They were a quarterback away, and even after Tom Brady left, they're still a quarterback away from being very successful. They're very sound all together. Yep. So I give them a lot of credit. And even this year, though, it's funny that like Baker Mayfield and his redemption has become more of the story, where it's really like the story to me is the stability of the Bucs. Like they have a really, really solid team.
Definitely.
And so I give them credit for that, but I feel like today might be too tall of a task. So I am going with Detroit. I'm going with them against the spread. So we'll see. We'll have a little division there too. So we'll see how that works out.
Nice.
Unk is going with Tampa Bay in a little bit of an upset, and Pop says Lions feast. Yeah. I do think that they will be up to the task, and I do think it's exciting for Dan Campbell.
And just the Lions in general, man. Getting back to the playoffs in over 30 years, winning a playoff game in the last 30 years or whatever, like it's huge. And now they have a chance. Probably are going to the NFC Championship game. So that's big. That's big time.
And you can see what that that feeling of gratitude did for them, right? Like even the Lions fans, they were like, we're just happy to be here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're just happy to have hosting a game for the first time in so long.
Yeah.
Versus like, you know what I'm saying? My squad is like the expectations are beyond that. But I just feel like they're starting to grow those expectations, but it's not the same, with the Lions. They're just like, hey, we're happy, we're here, we do what we need to do. And who knows how far this can go, but just that like respect for the moment and like appreciating it and not getting too far ahead of it. I think that's going to help them. So
yeah. I can feel that too. You know what I'm saying? When your team's been bad for as long as they've been bad, or just not able to get to the playoffs.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's crazy to me to think that Stafford and Megatron never got to the playoffs. Like that's so crazy to me.
Yeah. Well, I think they got there once, but they were on the road
to
win again. But like not having playoff success at all.
Right. Like Stafford was throwing for 4,500 yards a season before that was really crazy. You know what I mean? Because
right.
Back then, like teams still ran the ball so much, so it was just insane to think that team has like zero playoff success, especially when they actually had a pretty decent squad. Right.
But now the stigma is broken. You know what I'm saying? The curse is broken. They're back in action, so we'll see how far they can take it.
Definitely.
All right, last game of the week, and this one is a great matchup too. Yeah. We've got the Kansas City Chiefs visiting the Buffalo Bills. Patrick Mahomes' first ever road playoff game besides the Super Bowl. Buffalo favored by 2.5.
Yeah, man, I like Buffalo to win again in this one, man. I think Buffalo has Kansas City's numbered in the regular season, but Kansas City tends to beat them in the postseason. But I got the Bills in this one, man. I never like when a team is plus money, but it's even at plus 100. I'm not a big fan of it. So I believe Buffalo is going to get it done. I think they win by a field goal.
Yeah, this one's a really tough one for me. Like honestly, the spread and the money line doesn't make any difference because it is going to be that field goal, right? Or it is going to be a very close game. Like at 2.5, it's not too much of an advantage there. This one is tough for me because, like you said, like Buffalo kind of has KC's number, but Kansas City always does something to elevate, right? They always do something to just take it that much further, even back to the whole 14-second thing, right? Where, like, you know, they should have lost that game 2 years ago, right?
No Tyreek Hill, though. You got like Tyreek plays like monster role in that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no Tyreek anymore.
Exactly. And that's kind of like what I'm sensing here is like it's so hard for me to go against Kansas City because they always do find that extra layer, that extra turn up, but I feel like they don't have it this year. I feel like, you know, things are going kind of the wrong way for them as far as like their talent level, their professionalism, like the drops, like a lot of stuff out of character for them. So, you know, usually they won't beat themselves and they'll do a little something the extra to overcome. Now it's like they don't have that extra gear and they're beating themselves. Right. So with that being said, I am going to pick Buffalo as well. I hope I'm wrong. I'm really rooting for Kansas City in this one, only because like I don't like Buffalo. And I just, you know what I'm saying, I don't want to see them go too far. Like, to be perfectly honest, like, you know,
I'm the complete opposite. I can't stand KC. So I'm with Buffalo all the way.
No, I love it. I love it. But it's like I don't know why for me. I'm like, I just have a little bit of a stigma on them. I just feel like they're one of those teams that's never won a Super Bowl, and I don't ever want them to. You know?
I feel you.
But no, I am picking Buffalo, and I am picking them against the spread. I feel like it's just going to be a little bit too much, you know, to overcome for Kansas City, and especially being on the road too. That defense will do their thing and keep it close, but like you said, kind of Buffalo by a field goal. That's kind of where I'm going to. So I hope we're both wrong. But I mean, you know, at least one of us will be happy with the outcome, regardless.
Right. For sure.
That's what we do on the show. We cover all bases.
Exactly, 100%. We got to talk about everything. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Unc says Kansas City. Pop says NFL will cheat for the Bills. Praying Mahomes can overcome it, but Bills will win with help from the refs. Hate Josh Allen. Yeah. I see it the same way, you know. I mean, not necessarily the cheating part, but the fact that the Bills will win.
I'm real curious too about like Travis Kelce. He has not looked very good in the last, I'll say like 6-7 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, well, let me rephrase. It's not that he hasn't looked bad. He just hasn't looked Kelce-ish. He dropped a bunch of passes last week, which is so uncharacteristic of him. You know what I mean? And he hasn't scored a touchdown in weeks either. So I'm just kind of curious. I'm like, you know, where his head's at. You know what I mean? Is Taylor Swift going to be at the game? You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like, you know, she's going to be at the game, but I think that that's an extra thing that we should have to, you know, we should maybe throw out there is like plus minus on showing, showing Taylor Swift. Like, I think it's at least at 7, like over and under. What would you say if I put the mark at 7? You'd say over or under?
Over or the 7?
Assuming she's at the game.
For sure. I'm taking the over, dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? At least it's a push, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they show her too often, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
I love that because that's exactly what it is, man.
It's true. Like, he needs to do that. And also, like, with the podcast, though, he has with his brother and also, like, with his brother retiring or semi-retiring, like, I do think that there's a lot going on there where it's like, man, like, it's not as unfortunately easy to compartmentalize and just lock in when you have so much stuff going on. Like, where's your focus at? Much easier to be like an under the radar person or just like somebody that's not having to think about all this stuff. So
for sure.
I do think that will play an impact. Pops is going with the over as well. Yeah. So we'll have to try to count those out and see. But it might even be over by halftime. Who knows?
For real, so every chance they get.
Yeah. So that is okay. So that is all 4 games for this weekend. We will find out who will be in the divisional champs by Sunday evening. And just for transparency's sake, you know what I'm saying, we keep our money line records up there. I did add our against the spread records from last week to our money line since that's kind of how we did it. And then we got our bags over there as well. So So great job, Strizzy, taking the lead on that one. Since last week, I think I was like up by 1, and then you kind of you jumped up there when I only got the 1. So we'll see. It's coming down to the nitty gritty. You know what I'm saying? only a few games here and only a few games that we picked differently. So this will be interesting. But I did want to remind everyone that we do have the Yahoo going on still. You can pick for Super Bowl squares still, and we do have Super Bowl squares on sale. So hit us up. We're trying to fill up that board. If we don't fill up the board, we'll do what we did last year and have some kind of whammy squares or some kind of like methodology. We always figure it out. But we're going to have something to play for. Last week, Alex got 6 right, all 6 right, which was pretty crazy. But this week, make sure you put your picks in and make sure you put in your tiebreakers because it could come down to that with there being only 4 games. So that's what's up. All right. I think we did a pretty good job. Knocked that out in about 20 minutes, those 4 games. Next week, we will be back. We will be back for Championship Sunday. I think we'll probably do it Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And we'll do a little bit of a deep dive on the 2 games that we have next week. And then, of course, SLAC the Big Show on Tuesday, episode 230. Make sure you join us for that. And I guess, well, the teaser question, did you want to ask it or do you want to wait for Tuesday or what do you
I'll ask the teaser question. Also, I want to see how you guys, you Pops, Mark, my boy Marcus, even Steph, like how are y'all feeling about with all of the really good coaches on the market right now, you guys sticking with McCarthy for at least 1 more year?
Yeah, I know that's big topic, right? And Unc mentioned it in here as well. I will just say, initially, I was shocked and a little disappointed, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm ready for some change. But when I look at it a little bit further, I realize that we shouldn't have been surprised. And I'll break that down more on Tuesday. I'll kind of go into my reasoning for this that'll we'll just leave it there for Tuesday. But I'll definitely do it. I'll kind of try to prepare a couple minutes on my thoughts on the whole situation. Unc saying McCarthy is a mistake. So we kind of know how he feels, but that's a great tee up for Tuesday.
Yeah.
We'll make sure we get Steph's opinion. We'll get Marcus's opinion. We'll make sure Pops is ready to lend his part as well. And we'll see, we'll kind of have our representation from the Cowboys fans, the Cowboys delegation, so, oh man, that'll be interesting though, for sure. Pops is going to tell his now disappointed, wanted Chiefs DC as our head coach. I want a retooling. Yeah. So, but we'll get into that and more. But for now, we'll leave it right there. Definitely hope everybody enjoys the games this weekend. And we're getting down to the nitty gritty. Only 3 more Sundays of football left, so we got to enjoy it while we have it. But yeah, that was Secure the Bag for the divisional round. It's your boy A-Dub.
And your boy Strizzy.
Peace.